How are you doing with AI? How is your company doing with AI? And by the way, what the heck is AI? And what I'm going to refer to, I'm going to talk about today, is a recent study, a survey done by HousingWire in partnership with TRUE. The title of the survey is "Overcoming the Top Barriers to AI Adoption in Mortgage Lending." And let me just say, straight out, there's some challenges with this survey, but I think that we're going to get some directional information that will help us. And the first challenge is the report almost seems like an advertisement for True, and True is a fine enough company, but it seems like an advertorial, really. And then second, they didn't really state how many people they surveyed, so who knows how large the survey size is. And third, the majority of the survey respondents, over 28%, were loan officers who probably aren't in the right position to have an opinion on how mortgage companies are adopting AI. That being said, probably some useful data, probably some directionally correct data that we can look at. The other thing I would just say about this report is a lot of times we just interchange the word AI when we're really talking about technology. Most of the modern technology being used in mortgages and lending today has nothing to do with AI. It might be, robotic, it might be RPA, it might be, character recognition. It could be all sorts of stuff. It could be machine learning, but that stuff isn't necessarily AI. And so let's just use the word AI to mean technology in the mortgage space. So with that being said, let's talk about some of the things. Let's talk about what are the barriers to companies implementing AI, what are the successes, what are their fears, those type of things. And I'm going to lend heavily on the data in this report. And so I'm going to actually share the report here. This is directly from this report. I'm not on page one, but you can see let's go to the first one. What are the biggest concerns about implementing AI in your mortgage operations? Number one concern, 35% of respondents, is regulatory compliance. The next is we just haven't gotten the ROI we've been promised, and that's certainly true. The third is we just don't know how to do it, right? And that's so true. And then there's some sort of other. And then finally, our previous attempts at trying to deploy technology just haven't paid off. And all these are true, by the way. All these concerns, all these things that are getting in the way are so true. One, we just, I know in companies that I've worked with, when we start talking about different technologies, compliance freaks out, who's in charge, who's overseeing it, what if it makes a mistake, and you really have to get compliance to buy in, and you really have to get systems that are catered to support compliance needs. The fact that I've said this many times, and I say it again, for the last 30 years, we've been promised all this wonderful technology. It was going to change our world, and it was going to speed things up, and it was lower cost. And what have we seen since then? Just cost skyrockets. The cost of manufacturing alone has skyrocketed. We haven't got any of the economy of scale that we were promised to date. We haven't got the return on investment. Our vendors I don't know if they've intentionally lied to us, but they definitely have misled us and oversold us. And so now we're jaded. And here we are, we're on the cusp of a technology evolution leading to a revolution, and we're no longer trusting our vendor partners or our tech providers because they've misled us in the past. And unfortunately, we're going to have to let those scars down. We're going to have to just lay them down. We're going to have to accept that today is a new world, and we have to accept technology, and that technology will change everything. And unlike the last 30 years, its delivery is going to be greater than its promise. And so we have to somehow shed our scars for that. And then, of course, all this stuff never works. Here's the thing. I don't care if it's your iPhone. I don't care if your toaster. It never works the way it's supposed to be. You always have to massage things to work together. You need somebody who has experience to plug things in, to bolt things together to get it work. And if you don't have that, your company is going to be really challenged to deploy technology. And I'll just say one thing too. I'll say another, editorial here. Vendors is building these fences around their products so they can't be bolted onto another product is ridiculous. And ICE, you come to mind, by the way. If you're in the C-suite, if you're making decisions about technology, if your vendors, your technology providers don't allow open access so that their technology can integrate without a fee to other technologies, then we really need to search for other partners. But anyway, that's the concerns about implementing AI. Once again, AI is just being interchanged, I think, for really the word should be just technology. And then here we go. If we look at, what are the top benefits your organization has experienced from modernized mortgage processing? That is trying to use different technologies in the processing phase. Improved customer service, lower processing cost, faster time to close, higher LO and LOA productivity, and then a higher sales staff retention. The higher sales staff retention surprised me a little bit, but those are all definite things, right? Those are all definite things that we can all agree to. That technology is definitely doing all of those things. If we keep looking at just some key data here as I'm scrolling through it, I'm going to share with you. Now, this is another thing. I want you to just remember, we're going to replace the word technology for AI. So in what areas have you implemented AI solutions? I would just say advanced technology solutions. Document processing and automation is number one. Marketing and lead generation. By the way, marketing and lead generation is soon going to be number one. Third is underwriting and risk assessment. Next is customer service and communication. Appraisal, property valuations, of course, title and closing processes, and proprietary systems. And then if you look at how quickly do we expect to have measurable benefits, you can see most companies think in the next 6 months. Some aren't sure. Some think more than 1 year. Some things never. It's just kind of a mix. So, and here's the thing, and here's why technology is becoming so much more important, is that we have these massive, the giant players in our space, the Rockets and Rate and Chase, and these are all companies, lenders that the report calls out, that are using advanced technology, and that advanced technology is giving them, huge advantages. I mean, Rocket now claims that they've audited 90% of the document processing. So the processing and underwriting, they've automated nearly 90%. And in doing so, they're saving thousands, if not tens of thousands of man hours a year. And that gives them a cost, not only economy of scale, but an expense advantage over the competitors. And then, Rate claims that they save somewhere between $900 to $1,200 per loan using different technologies or automations. And then Chase, JP Morgan Chase has really invested into technology in their processing and underwriting so that they can scale, they can expand, and they can easily take more production. All those things are, leading to that if there's going to be the world of the haves and the haves not. Now, there's a whole bunch of things that prevent implementation. I'm going to share this if I can find it really quickly. Here, I'm going to share this. Will be the last one I'm going to share, I promise, guys. So here it is. What if you haven't implemented AI? How come? Number one, concerns about the cost. Sure, makes sense. Number two, regulatory compliance concerns, of course, especially with the way the government's hopscotching all over the place today. Number three, of course, is lack of understanding of AI capabilities. Like, I totally understand that. Next is lack of internal expertise, right? And then integration challenges with existing systems, data quality and availability issues, and data security. All these are really true. All these are absolutely true. But you know what? Another huge obstacle is it's internal conflict. It's that your existing employees don't want to use it. They're going to feel like they're going to be replaced. They're unsure. They're going to be left behind. They're going to lose their importance. And so there's a lot of internal resistance, and that's a giant problem. And here's another fact that we don't want to agree with. As we use technology, the only way that the technology pays off is if we have an equal or greater reduction in man hours. And so it used to be, the saying used to be, look, AI isn't going to replace people, but people using AI are going to beat people that aren't. But now more recently, in the last 30 days, you're hearing much more honest approach that, hey, no, technology is going to replace people. Absolutely, it's going to replace people. And that's what it's meant to do. I mean, if you're going to have technology process and underwrite, why do you need to keep your full staff of processors and underwriters? And by the way, the same thing goes for sales. If you're going to have chat bots and avatars do frontline sales, right? Do you need as many salespeople? And so we all need to figure out how to navigate to where we have the most value, and that we have job security, and that we are a huge value to our companies. But technology and AI are going to replace people. That's the whole point of it. But this is a good report. I know I mentioned some of the the problems with the report, but this is a really good report. It's directionally correct. It feels like to me. The fact is, lending needs technology. We went through 30 years without really having a meaningful upgrade. I mean, if you look at it from other than AUS coming on. I mean, when I first was a loan officer, they came out with FICO scores, and then shortly later we came out with AUS, and then nothing really happened for 20 years, 30 years. What kind of advancement is that? No, we do business the same way we've done for the last 20 years. That shouldn't be. We need to embrace this technology changes. The customer wants this type of experience. They want a high-tech experience wrapped in a very human, feeling to it. And so we need to make sure we provide that. Anyway, I did a post on this in LinkedIn today. Check it out if you get a chance. And then I will put a link to the report below, both HousingWire and TRUE. I appreciate you guys coming up with this report. It's just going to be a growing conversation. So thanks so much. Thanks for giving me some of your time today. Hope you're having a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again.